Happy 2024. It is an amazing first week of January of 2024. And I want to come to you live and do a live podcast episode that we're calling Wired for Winning in 2024. How do you become wired to win and wired for wealth in 2024? And how smarter goals, unfortunately, have actually worked against how your brain is wired and puts your mind in opposition to the things that you want, and how to create a brain-based goal that allows your brain to align with what you want, giving it jet fuel toward the things that you're trying to create. If we don't know each other, my name is Dr. Shannon, and I help CEOs, C-suite, and entrepreneurs up level and unleash their business by tapping into the power of their mind, removing brake pedal beliefs, and unleashing God's calling into their life. So it's good to see you live. Thanks for joining me live. I'm going to be recording the podcast this morning all around becoming wired to win in 2024. And really, I want to talk about, what does it take to actually wire your brain to win? What does it take to wire your brain for wealth? What's getting in the way of those things, and how you can align with how your brain creates and allows results to get there faster. We have something in our world called the 67-day year, and it's because my clients are able to align their brain with their vision and their goals, and their goals are not smarter goals. Their goals are brain-based goals in that specific system. The brain stops fighting them. The brain stops seeing reasons why they shouldn't, and starts creating for them a systematic achievement of what they're trying to do in the world. So I want to record this podcast live with you in the beginning of 2024. I want to be talking about being wired to win, wired for wealth, and what does God say about wealth and the creation of it. So I'm going to get started. Good to see you guys jumping on live. Ready for the Epic Success podcast to be recorded live with you. I cannot wait. And here we go. I'm going to do a little quick intro, and then we'll get right to it. All right. Always have my notes. Are you guys setting goals right now for 2024? Are you starting to think about doing them not the same way you've always done them, but maybe doing them in a way that you can get there faster? Are you tired of setting the goals just to change them? This is the time of year where everyone starts feeling fresh and new and setting their word for the year or their decisions and their goals. And they use a methodology that was created in the industrial era that actually works against how the brain is wired. It puts your brain in a bind, in a tug of war for that vision, because your brain's job is to keep you safe, familiar, and the same. And if we don't hack into that system, if we don't use that system strategically to create the goals, and the goals creating the outcomes faster than we ever thought possible, if we use this old, broken, smarter system, then unfortunately we'll be working against how our brain is wired. That's what we're going to be talking about today on the Epic Success podcast, where I'm going to be talking about how you can become wired to win in 2024. Let's go. All right. So I want to dive in right from the start. I said in the intro that I'm a little bit disruptive, because right now everybody's saying, yay, 2024 goals. And I am saying, yes, the same 2024 goals. But if you had an experience in 2023 where you set goals the same way you've always set them, and you found yourself not getting to the finish line, then you've experienced what happens when your brain starts resisting the system of goals that you have. So I want to first of all talk about the fact that we as human beings, we have this desire to accomplish and to achieve. I believe that is a God-given desire. It's a desire put on our heart to make the world a better place, to take care of our family, to create for ourselves things that we didn't have before. And our intuition tells us that I should know how to do this, But yet we are indoctrinated into this outside in philosophy of, I'm going to write the goals and then someone else knows how to do it, that I don't know how to do it. When we set brain-based goals, we actually show our brain and make it safe for our brain to want those things. In other words, your brain doesn't need to see it to believe it, but your brain does need to believe it to see it. And that's what Smarter Goals doesn't have, is doesn't create a system to take your brain from safety and familiarity with what you have right now and transfer that to safety and familiarity of where you want to go. That's a process we take our clients through. It's called the brain-based goal setting system of the 67-day year. It's how you're able to collapse time. And I don't know about you, but when I really think about it, it isn't so much generating income and wealth that we're after when we're setting goals or even outcomes, but it's being able to have more time. If you set a health goal, the ultimate goal of that health goal is to have more time here on planet Earth, right? If you set an income goal, the reason and the desire for that income goal isn't for the money sitting in the bank, because I always say to my clients, if I had a magic wand and I said, here's $1 million, but you can no longer see your family, you can no longer, and in 24 hours, you weren't here anymore, no one would take it. So what is it really that we're after? We're after the time and the freedom that it creates. Yet we use these old systems created in the industrial age to create more widgets. And if you think about it, like measurable, obtainable, like those kind of things, those created more products on the assembly line. It really did work well for that system in time. However, when we're going for big things like creating a 6-figure business, a 7-figure business, when we're going for big goals like that, we put those through that system and we discover that it really does start to put our brain into, maybe some of these are familiar. These are actually neurochemical stop signs from your brain. Overwhelm, confusion, lack of clarity, procrastination, perfectionism. These aren't things you have. These are neurochemicals that fire to keep you right where you are. Because when we create smarter goals, it does put our brain in a fight or flight system. So what we want to do is we want to create brain-based goals. We want to actually, yes, of course, write down the vision that we want, but then take that and create through a system we call brain priming, a pathway so that the brain believes it and feels it as safe and familiar. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging with that. We've got a free video series coming up where I'm breaking down that entire blueprint. But I just want to introduce the idea for you now of brain-based goals. That if you haven't achieved everything you've wanted to achieve over the last year, then maybe it isn't that you're not working hard enough, or that you don't know, or that you're not clear, or things just didn't work. Maybe it's just that you were using an old, broken, antiquated system that put your brain in fight or flight, and then literally it started working against you. We want our brain working for us, not against us, because it is the most powerful tool to accomplish anything you want in life. How do you create more money? With your brain. How do you get more time? It's how you use it. That's all from your brain. So brain-based goals is how you unleash a 67-day year. It's how you literally take 4 times and collapse it into one. That's why we call it 67-day year, because it takes about 67 days for the brain to create that belief pattern in the brain and start to believe it before they see it. Number 2, in the new year, I want to talk about something that's really important for high performers, high achievers like you. And it's this. I know you're motivated, you're driven, you're writing down the desires of your heart, you're, setting the goals, and I'm hoping that you do that differently this year and you come to the video series, doing a lot of live free trainings, almost a whole month long, where you can really unpack this blueprint. We have another one tomorrow. But our foot is on the gas. As a high achiever, our foot is on the gas 24/7. You don't have to inspire us to go for it. We are taking action. We are go getting. We are striving. We are moving, right? So your foot is on the gas of this success that you want. Can I get an amen? Like in the chat, those of you who are live, because I'm doing this podcast live, nobody has to motivate you to dream, to desire, to go, to try. You're already naturally doing that if you're listening to the podcast. But what we don't know is going on that we did not give permission to, that is not our fault, is that there are these brain-based brake pedal beliefs that you didn't even create, that were created in your childhood of origin, environment of origin. They take the face of scarcity, money stories, feeling like you're not enough, imposter syndrome, procrastination, perfectionism, all those things. Those are brake pedal beliefs. They're not even yours. You didn't give them permission to be there. The brain, that subconscious part of the brain, when you were growing up, didn't have the prefrontal cortex saying those aren't true. That doesn't fully develop till you're 23. So those repetitions around you is what created your subconscious. And in your subconscious, these stories that weren't even yours, that were someone else's, but they repeated it so much around you, stories about money, stories about worth, stories about potential ability, all of those things, that became what is automated in belief in the subconscious. Now, here's the most powerful thing to know about this as you're setting a new year, is that these are running 90%, 90% of your decisions without your knowledge or permission, firing automatically. Your decisions are creating your actions, and those actions are creating your results. So wait a minute. There's something that I didn't give permission to, that's not my fault. And then it's automated and it's running how I think about money, worth, enoughness, ability, all those things, potential. And it's running 90% of the show. Yes, it is. And that's what I need to tell you. If we just set smarter goals and we hope and pray and wish that it happens, and we don't set brain-based goals, and we don't get rid of these brake pedal beliefs, then unfortunately 90% of your year will be governed by a story that you did not give permission to, and is keeping you from the vision, the dreams, the freedom, and the time that I believe is in your destiny. And I'm going to just go a little bit of entrepreneur church on you for a minute. I believe that you were created. I believe that you were called, and I believe that you are supplied, meaning the calling you have on your life from God himself is only being hampered from coming true and from you getting into your full potential by these brake pedal beliefs. All right, I'm going to try to come down a little bit from the entrepreneur pulpit, but we chase after visions when our foot is on the gas and our foot is on the brake at the exact same time, and we're wondering why I can't get to where I want to go. Your brain has a map going to what is automated. So we've got to remove those brake pedal beliefs. So we need those brain-based goals. We got to remove those brake pedal beliefs. And the third thing we get to do so that we create a 67-day year instead of a 365-day year is we have to prime our brain. We call this brain priming. We've got to build for our brain a blueprint, a roadmap for where we're going so your brain sees it as safe. And literally using the system in your brain called the reticular activating system starts to draw that to you. If you don't do that, if you still just use smarter goals, then unfortunately, when you come up against one of those brake pedal beliefs, the brake pedal is going to fly down. Everything's going to come to a screeching halt. Your neurochemicals are going to fire, and you're going to feel the overwhelm, feel the confusion, feel the lack of clarity, right? And then because your brain doesn't believe where you're going, your brain starts serving you these things on the regular to try to slow you down. This is how powerful your brain is. Now, here's the great news. The same system that's on automation right now, we have the blueprint to actually automate what you want and get rid of the things you don't. This is the hack that creates the top 3%. This is the hack that makes you wired to win, wired for wealth, and wired for wisdom in the new year. And so from the bottom of my heart, I don't want you to continue to do things as you've always done them and hoping that it's a better result this year. I want you to take control back in your hands and make the 90% of your subconscious that's running your daily decisions, actions, and results actually be aligned with the vision, the calling that you were created for. And that automation now becomes the thing that, like a magnet, draws you. This is brain-based manifestation based in science, vetted by scripture. It's how the brain allows a result. So if we go back to doing it the old way, we just need to understand that our brain is going to be working against us at every turn. But if we move toward really doing it in a way that your internal system already, it kind of knows, like, you intuitively know you're called, you know you were created, you know you're supplied, there's abundance all around you, and that there should be a way to not put your brain in a competition with the very calling. The God of the universe did not create your brain to be in competition with the vision that he planted in you. So how did that happen? Well, without going hard left, there's nothing new since the beginning of time. How do we get deceived in the garden? It's the same way. Did God really say that, right? And so there's these repetitions that happen in your family of origin, childhood of origin, whether it was great, horrible, or somewhere in between. We don't have to deep dive back there. The good news is the way the brain works and is wired, you can actually tap and hack into those systems, create the 90% that actually brings you to where you want instead of keeps you from the thing you know what you were called to do. So brain-based goals, brake pedal beliefs need to go. And we got to prime in our brain the truth that sets you free from those brake pedal beliefs and the vision, so that your brain starts to believe it before you see it and literally becomes the magnet that draws you to it. So in the new year, I'd love for you to do it differently. I would love for you to say, you know what, I've tried it the old way and I've had some success, but nowhere near the vision I have between my eyes, right? With the vision you think of every single year. Every year, I remember before unpacking this in the neuropsychology rooms, I would do exactly what everybody else did. And I would do fine, but never to the degree I wanted to. And I'd always have to, by September, October, kind of shrink those goals. Not this year. This year, you're expanding your goals. You're going to create a year's worth of goals in 67 days and then go on to the next and the next. Why? Because you're tapping in to the system that allows them to happen. Either your brain is going to work against you or it's going to work for you. I hope you choose the latter. And that's why we are doing the Unleashed Entrepreneur workshops this month. We have an entire month set aside to show you how to become unleashed as an entrepreneur, to unleash you in your business. Tomorrow, we're doing I think it's from unfocused to unleashed. How do you get crystal clear in that vision so your brain believes it? On Monday, we're doing from unknown to unleashed. How do you become the expert to where people really are drawn to you and your niche just reveals itself in the marketplace? On Wednesday next week, we're doing from unprofitable to unleashed, and we're going to really deep dive into those money stories and get you started on a 7-figure money mindset so that your brain doesn't work against you in that money department. And then January 15th through the 17th is when we reveal the Unleashed Entrepreneur video series and do live coaching all around it. So it's going to be a really powerful month. It's all free. On the workshops coming up, there's absolutely nothing pitched other than show up for the video series. So you're going to want to go to unleashedentrepreneur.com to get registered for this live event that we're doing in January. Look, my heart for you is for you to become wired to win, to become wired for wealth, and to become wired for wisdom. And wisdom says we don't keep doing the things that don't fully work and expect them to finally work. We don't do things we've always done and expect different results, right? This year is the year you have a 67-day year. This year is the year that you create brain-based goals. You remove brake pedal beliefs and you brain prime that vision into existence so that your brain starts working for you, that 90%, literally every decision, action, and result aligns with where you're going versus where you've been. So that's what I have for you today. I'm jazzed to be with you live doing this podcast, and I cannot wait to serve you deeply inside the Unleashed Entrepreneur event this month. Go to unleashedentrepreneur.com and get registered for that. And then you'll get all the reminders for the workshops and the reminders for the video series. And I really want to challenge you. Like, in the bottom of your heart, how it feels when you want to accomplish things so much and you don't see them come to pass. I've felt that. It's so disheartening. And you also know intuitively that you are called, you are created, and you are supplied, right? And that there is this dream and desire of your heart, and it doesn't go away. And so if you are called, you are supplied for, and the multiplier of the universe is going to multiply that. We've got to move those brake pedal beliefs out of the way so that you take off. That's what we're going to be doing together live. Happy New Year. This is the year that gets you unleashed. All right. I will see you on our next podcast, and I'll see you in the Unleashed Entrepreneur. Bye for now.